Good morning. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Come on with us to Mark chapter 5 today. Let's talk about the woman who has the flow of blood. Mark 5, verse 25. It says, "Now a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years, and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd, and touched his garment. For she said, If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up." Let's ask the question today, why do we wait so long to come to Jesus? Why does it seem like it takes a cataclysm in our lives to finally jolt us to action? I want you to think about a few ideas. One is, we try to rely on our own strength. This woman, she spent every dime she had, and she had not gotten any better. She was getting worse. We rely on our own strength to solve our problems, and we fail again and again and again. We cannot forgive ourselves of our own sins. Only the Lord has the power and the authority to do that. But we try to rely on our own strength. That's one thing that we do. But also, we trust the wrong people. This woman, she had spent all she had on physicians, on many physicians. We in our lives, we trust the wrong people sometimes. We trust our family members to tell us the truth. We trust our pastor to tell us the truth. We trust whoever it is to tell us the truth. We need to come straight to the source. We need to come straight to Jesus. A lot of times we trust the wrong people to solve our problems. We need to put it in the Lord's hands. The third thing we want to mention, sometimes we are so embarrassed. This woman, we need to think about, this was an embarrassing and an unclean situation. She was unclean. Sometimes we are so embarrassed about our sins. We're embarrassed about who's going to find out. We're embarrassed, afraid of what they're going to say. We cannot let embarrassment keep us away from Jesus. We cannot do it. If we let embarrassment keep us away, then we will assuredly die in our sins. This woman was a dead woman walking. She was getting close to death is what was happening. The fourth thing that we might mention, this woman, she had this condition for 12 years. Sometimes we put things off. We put coming to Jesus off because we think, well, surely there will be tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and we put it off until the following day. And we put it off and we put it off and we put it off until finally we're 55, 60, 65 years old. And finally something happens and it jolts us to action. Maybe we need to think about that today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off until tomorrow. Don't procrastinate when it comes to Jesus. The last thing we might consider, it says this woman grew worse. Says she was not getting better, but she grew worse. Sometimes we think that we're not bad enough. If she grew worse, that means at the beginning of the 12 years, she was bad, but she wasn't as bad as she was at the end. Sometimes we think, well, we're not bad enough yet. We don't need Jesus. We need to understand, if we have sin, just one sin in our lives, then we need Jesus. It does not have to take a cataclysm to get us to come to the Lord, but very often it does. You might think about these points, consider others you might have yourself. Hope you enjoyed this study. We'll see you tomorrow morning.